Picture this. It's the 1970s, and America's top spy agencies have declared a secret war. But here's the twist. Their target wasn't some foreign enemy. It was their own people, Americans. We're about to dive into the story of the Church Committee, the landmark investigation that pulled back the curtain on this shocking secret war on home soil. I mean, can you even imagine? A report from the U.S. Senate itself concluding that parts of our own government were acting like a totalitarian state? That's exactly what happened. In the mid-1970s, a Senate committee, led by Senator Frank Church, uncovered some truly jaw-dropping truths about what America's intelligence agencies were doing right here at home. And this wasn't some small rogue operation. We are talking about a massive systematic effort. The FBI's headquarters alone had over 500,000, that's 500,000 files open on American citizens and groups. But that number, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Each one of those files could contain information on dozens, even hundreds of people, creating this massive web of surveillance that touched countless lives. An enemy within? It really makes you ask, right? Who exactly was in the crosshairs of this enormous surveillance machine? Well, the committee's findings, they paint a really disturbing picture. The intelligence community had started to see enemies everywhere, even among its own citizens. And this is probably the single most explosive finding in the entire report. For almost 5 years, the FBI waged what one of their own agents called a war against Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And their goal? It wasn't to investigate a crime. It was to neutralize him, to get him out of the picture as a leader of the civil rights movement. And their report was clear. No holds were barred. Now, Dr. King was obviously a huge target, but he was far, far from the only one. The committee uncovered this whole toolbox of dirty tricks that were used against thousands of Americans. I mean, just think about this. Illegal wiretaps, opening your private mail, actual burglaries, which the FBI gave this chilling name, surreptitious entries. They'd even plant informants inside peaceful protest groups, turning friends into spies, just to sow paranoia and chaos. And just look at who they were targeting. This wasn't just about violent radicals, not at all. This intelligence net swept up civil rights leaders, artists like Sammy Davis Jr., activists, respected groups like the NAACP, and even, as the report puts it, ordinary private citizens. Get this. One person was targeted for being a bearded militant who writes and recites poetry. Poetry. That was enough to get you on the list. A system without breaks. All this just begs the question, how on earth did it get to this point? How did a system that was supposed to protect democracy end up turning on it? This slide, right here, this really gets to the absolute heart of the problem. The committee found that for a lot of these agents, the law was, well, it was basically an afterthought. When they were asked if they ever even considered the legality of what they were doing, one former FBI official just said they never gave it a thought. They saw themselves as pragmatists. The only thing that mattered was getting results. Okay, this quote from a top FBI official it's truly chilling. He describes the agency's culture not as immoral, but as amoral. And that's such a crucial distinction, right? It wasn't about choosing wrong over right. It was about the difference not even entering the equation. The only question was, does it work? Ethics, morals, the law, none of it was even part of the conversation. So how did they justify all this? Well, the answer was this vague but incredibly powerful phrase, national security. This became the ultimate trump card, the rationale for just overriding laws, the Constitution, basic ethics. The argument was always the same. The greater good, the safety of the nation, it just required these extreme measures. Drawing new lines. All right, so after digging all of this up, what was the solution? This is where things get interesting. The committee's recommendations sparked this fierce debate, a fight over the fundamental balance between our security and our liberty. The committee was crystal clear on one thing. Just publishing this report, exposing all these abuses, that wasn't going to be enough. They were absolutely convinced that without real structural changes, this stuff would just inevitably happen all over again. As they wrote it, clear legal standards and effective oversight and controls are necessary. And the reforms they proposed? They were pretty revolutionary for the time. First up, get a judge's warrant before you spy on Americans. A basic check on power that had been completely ignored. Second, create permanent congressional committees to actually keep an eye on the spies. And finally, and this is a big one, set a term limit for the FBI director. This was a direct shot at J. Edgar Hoover's nearly half-century of unchecked power. But not everyone on the committee was on board. There was a powerful dissent, led by the vice chairman, John Tower, and he argued that these recommendations were a dangerous overreaction. They were worried that these new rules, which were born from past abuses, would end up tying the hands of the intelligence community and actually make America less safe in the future. Security versus liberty. And this, right here, is the real legacy of the Church Committee. It's not just some story about what happened in the past. It's about a debate that, let's be honest, we are still having right now. Yeah, this report is so much more than a history lesson. It basically laid bare the central tension in any democracy, that constant struggle to balance the government's need to protect the nation with our right as individuals to be free from government intrusion. These are the exact same battle lines we see today in debates over digital surveillance and all kinds of new technologies. So, we're left with a fundamental question that the Church Committee forced America to confront, and it's a question that has no easy answer. Where do we draw the line? I mean, how much freedom are we willing to trade for a feeling of security? And maybe more importantly, who gets to decide? The debate they started? Well, we're all still living in it today.